cover-up in human history.
Growl like a tiger. You like a kitten. Guess what our first myth is?
Still photography?
Yes! Most of the alleged evidence that NASA picked the moon landings comes from NASA's own photography, which theorists claim shows clear evidence the moon landing was faked in the studio and could not have been filmed on the moon.
Say hoax.
Hoax!
So these are the photos the guys will focus on. According to Apollo hoax advocates, this shot was taken in a studio because the shadows are not parallel. Supposedly, that's something that could only happen with multiple light sources. Then there's...
Hello everyone, so right here we have the episode from the Mythbusters series where they supposedly debunked some of the claims of conspiracy theorists which believe that the moon landing didn't take place and that it was faked. This video is a fragment from the full episode and it consists of an experiment which should validate that the shadows from different objects can be seen at different angles, even if there is a single light source which is responsible for the entire illumination of the area. The role that I will have here is to expose their fraudulence by presenting evidence towards the fact that their experiment does not reflect actual reality. Okay, so the video, I downloaded the video from this particular channel, but I'm sure that it can be found in others as well. Okay, you can see it here. I also took some screenshots from this video which will help prove my point, and I have also constructed two 3D scenes which reveal how the experiment of the Mythbusters was done and how it should have been done in order to reflect reality. These are the screenshots that I took from the video. I will present their importance and the ideas that can be gathered from them. The first picture is the photo which was provided by NASA. The first thing to notice here is that the distance between the two objects seen on the surface of the moon is relatively small when compared to the supposed diameter of the moon. So I can assume that this seen distance should be somewhere between 50 meters and 250 meters. The second screenshot that I took gives us an idea about the diameter of the light source used by the Mythbusters. I consider it to be the same width as Adam. The third and fourth photos give us an idea concerning the width of the table which simulated the moon's surface and where the objects were placed. If you take as reference the red ladder behind Adam, you can approximate the width of the table to be at least 4 times the width of Adam. Okay, you can see this here. The fifth picture shows the orientation of the edge of the table, which was next to the red ladder, relative to the objects placed on the table. It can be seen that the ladder sits at the edge of the table, opposite to the edge where the light source has been placed. So the ladder is at the right edge of the table and the light source is at the left edge of the table. In the following moments, I will be brief regarding some facts about the supposed radius of the celestial bodies from the solar system. Mainly, what is relevant to the case at hand is the radius of the moon and the radius of the sun. So, if we look for the radius of the moon, we can see that it is 1,700 kilometers, and the radius of the sun is supposed to be almost 700,000 kilometers. Okay, so if the radius of the sun is approximately 700,000 kilometers and the radius of the moon is just 1,700 kilometers, then by doing the ratio you can conclude that the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon. Okay, which means that the actual reality is composed of a light source which is 400 times larger than the entire surface of the area which it illuminates, in this case the moon. In the last part of this video, I will be presenting the two 3D scenes that I have constructed in order to present first how the experiment was done, and second, how the experiment should have been done in order to match reality. So, based on the conclusions that I have come across previously, the light source has a particular width, and the table is at least 4 times wider than the considered light source. Okay, so in this case it is obvious that the light rays will come at different angles, striking the two objects which are close to the parallel edges of the table, thus creating shadows which are at different angles. This is because the light source is very small, way smaller than the table, and let's not forget that this table does not represent the entire surface of the moon. It represents only maybe a half a kilometer at most of land. Now we have reached the final part of the video, where we demonstrate how the experiment should have been done. So we have the same surface with the same width and the same objects and the same positions on the table, but this time the shadows of these two objects should be at the same angle, parallel to each other, because we have constructed the light source as it is in reality to be way bigger than the table which it needs to illuminate. So we can see here that the width of the table measured is 100 units, and the width of the light source is this time way bigger, which is 200 times larger than the table. But we already know that the sun is 400 times larger than the entire surface of the moon. So this experiment is closer to what reality is, but the light source is not as big as it should be, even in this case. Especially if we we need to note that we have considered the light source to be 200 times larger than this table, but this table again is not the entire surface of the moon. The sun is 400 times bigger than the entire surface of the moon, but this table represents only a small patch of land from the surface of the moon. Therefore, the conclusion is that the shadows should also be parallel to each other when the light source has a width larger than the surface on which the objects sit. So this is how the experiment should have been done, with a light source a lot bigger than the table where the light source points at. The experiment was fraudulent because they misrepresented reality. They were far away from how things behave in actual reality, and this only means that the photos which were provided by NASA from the moon missions are fake, because if the experiment would be done right, the shadows of the objects which sit on such a surface should be parallel.